Few people talk about this, but it's crucial to understand that the entire system of our world is designed to make you suffer, become dull-minded, live in constant stress and anxiety, and absolutely everything around you, every sphere of activity, even forms of entertainment, try to achieve this. The main goal is to control people's mental states. And to make this possible, they need to bring you to low vibrational emotions. For example, look at what the entertainment industry shows us on the internet. Movies and TV series where everyone suffers, everything is terrible, everyone dies. The same goes for music. Constant suffering, negative messages, obsession with these themes. And news is the worst of everything that exists. The news broadcasts specially selected negative content. What happens to people's mental states when they watch the news is horrifying. That's why it's crucial for everyone to carefully sort their viewed and listened content, as it strongly affects the entire life scenario of absolutely every one of you. The Vatican meticulously controls the entire music sphere. All classical music is Vatican-controlled. For example, the note A used to be 432 Hz, but in the 1940s, during Hitler's time, it was changed to 440 Hz. This might seem meaningless to you, right? Music is Hertz, frequencies. Beethoven wrote at 432 Hz, called the Verdi frequency. It's a specific vibration with different effects on consciousness. And then, John decided it needed to be changed, and changed it. Changed what? The tuning forks. And all orchestras worldwide retuned to new tuning forks. And this music began to affect consciousness differently. Consequently, all retuned instruments playing Beethoven are no longer playing true Beethoven, or at least not what he intended. It's like taking Paulo Coelho's work and rearranging the letters. Overall, it comes down to the fact that the 440 Hz frequency negatively affects human psychology, leading to stress, aggression, and depression, as it doesn't harmonize with Earth's natural frequency, while 432 Hz, conversely, has healing and calming effects.
The best way to keep a prisoner from escaping is to make sure he never knows he is in prison. In 60 seconds, you will understand how you are being held back by the Matrix. One. Salary is the drug they give you to forget your dream. 2. School teaches you to follow rules, not break them, but only the rule breakers are the ones who succeed. 3. They don't want a nation of thinkers. They want a nation of workers. 4. You worked for 40 years, 8 hours a day, and after 40 years, you're still broke. Think about that for a second. 5. They teach you to be a good consumer, not a good producer. But in today's world, it's more important than ever to be able to create value. 6. They give you comfort through video games, movies, and shows. Comfort is a drug. Once you get used to it, it becomes addicting. Give a weak person consistent stimulation, tasty food, and cheap entertainment, and they'll throw their ambitions right at you.
Think for a second, how many of your decisions are truly yours? And how many are imposed from outside? Today I'll show how the system we live in masterfully manipulates your thoughts, suppresses free will, and turns you into a participant in a game whose rules you don't even realize. Advertising surrounds us daily. It doesn't just offer products, it shapes your desires. Do you really want that new smartphone, or was that desire suggested by marketing? As Edward Bernays, the father of PR, said, manipulating public opinion is the key to controlling the masses. The average person encounters 4,000 to 10,000 advertising messages daily. This affects the subconscious so much that your decisions seem like your own. Algorithms select content to keep you in apps as long as possible. They use your weaknesses, desire for acceptance, fear of missing out, need for entertainment. But think about how much time you spend just scrolling. It's no longer a choice, it's an addiction. A 2022 study showed that the average user spends 2 hours 27 minutes daily on social media. That's over 5 years of life when added together. Why does school teach us to follow, but not to question? Because the system isn't interested in your freedom. The modern education system was designed during the Industrial Revolution. Its goal isn't to unlock human potential, but to prepare obedient workers. Why aren't we taught to manage emotions, invest, find our calling? Because it would make us too independent.
American industrialist Henry Ford once said, "If people understood how the financial system works, there would be a revolution tomorrow." The fact that schools don't teach financial literacy is no coincidence.
Google and social media algorithms feed us information that confirms our views. As a result, we lose the ability to critically evaluate data, as we're surrounded only by what we agree with. Your smartphone knows more about you than you do. Which apps you open, how much you sleep, who you communicate with. This data is sold to influence your decisions. You think you're choosing freely, but your preferences have already been predicted. According to Cambridge University research, Facebook's algorithm can predict your preferences more accurately than your friends using just 300 likes. News and social media algorithms actively use fear. This is an ancient survival mechanism that makes us pay attention to threats. And the more disaster content you consume, the more anxiety you feel, getting trapped in a vicious cycle.
Even in ancient Egypt, pharaohs used religion to subjugate the population. People were taught that the pharaoh was a god, and that observing rituals would ensure them a happy afterlife. But did the Egyptians ever wonder who benefited from their labor in building the pyramids? Archaeologists discovered that workers who built the pyramids often received minimal food rations, while their families lived in poverty. Control through faith created an illusion of meaning in their labor. During the Inquisition era, the Church maintained power through fear of hell and accusations of heresy. The instrument of fear still works today. They just use different concepts instead of hell, such as economic collapse or threats to your future. Today, the same mechanisms are used to manage fear. You're afraid of losing your job, afraid of not meeting society's standards, afraid of falling behind the pace of life. If you hear a statement over and over again, you begin to accept it as truth. This is called the illusion of truth effect. Studies show that even obviously false information is perceived as true if it's repeated often enough. Example: news headlines like "economic crisis is inevitable" cause mass panic, even when economists aren't making such predictions. Panic is profitable. People start stockpiling goods and spending money more actively. Neurobiology research shows that advertising activates the brain's dopamine centers, the same ones responsible for pleasure from food or sex. This creates attachment to brands and products. Large corporations spend billions studying consumer behavior. For example, Amazon uses algorithms that predict which products you'll buy, suggesting them to you before you even think to look for them yourself.
The war for your attention is the most ruthless battle of our time. Every day, 2.5 quintillion bytes of data are created worldwide. That's dozens of times more than our brain can process. When you see a stream of news, articles, videos, your brain loses the ability to critically evaluate information.
Candy?
You already know if I'm going to take it?
Wouldn't be much of an oracle if I didn't.
But if you already know, how can I make a choice?
Because you didn't come here to make the choice. You've already made it. You're here to try to understand why you made it.
Harvard research showed that with too many options, people stop making decisions. This is called analysis paralysis. That's why the content stream makes us passive. Headlines like "urgent," "shocking truth about," are specifically created to evoke emotions, anger, surprise, or fear. The emotional response makes you click, and then you fall into the algorithm's trap. BuzzFeed journalists in 2015 conducted an experiment. By changing an article's headline to be more emotional, they increased views by 300%. Control over your attention is control over money. The more time you spend looking at screens, the more ads you see, the more profit the system makes. The system keeps us in a state of division and anxiety. The more we worry, the less energy we have for self-improvement, and the easier we are to control.
You cannot change the entire system, but you can become aware of its influence. Every time you choose what to watch, listen to, or read, you take a step towards freedom. There's only one question. Are you ready to break free? What can you do to escape from this?